All right, let's call to order the March 20th, 2026 meeting of the Downtown Development Authority. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, you can. Mike Green,
Here.
Mayor Bruce,
Yep.
Pam Schermeyer,
Here?
Alex Green,
Here.
Jeff Fitzrick,
Here.
Dr. Felton, Charlotte Jones,
Here.
Lisa Burr. Okay, we have quorum.
And do we have excused absences?
We do have an excused absence for Lisa Burr and
Tracy Williams, my bad.
And
Here.
I believe Tricia should be here shortly.
Okay.
Make a motion to excuse Lisa Burr.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And moving on to the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I would like to just, sorry. I'd just like to make a note that it was brought to my attention regarding under liabilities. There is a revenue item on there for a little over $101,000. That is our first installment of an ARPA grant we received from from Oakland County for the replacement of the ADA, the new ADA accessible playscape here in municipal grounds. The reason it's kept in as a liability at this time is because we're finalizing the final grant funds we need to match the ARPA grant we were awarded 2 years ago. We believe we have that funding, and actually the contractor, Game Time, who is the prime contractor for the My Deal state contract, they'll be at April's Parks and Rec Commission to show the preliminary renderings and get their feedback, and we're hoping to award it in June or July. But until we actually spend those funds, if we don't spend them and the project doesn't get completed, we'll have to return them to the county. So, and one of the reasons we were asked to request them was because of current states at the federal level that some communities have been asked to return funds they haven't already appropriated. So we wanted to appropriate them, so we secured those funds. It's a large grant we received. We wanted to keep those, and for just general accounting practices, it was best to keep it as a liability under revenue rather than putting it in our regular revenue column, because there's that possibility we may have to pull them back and return them if the project doesn't get completed. But right now, it's on its way.
Okay. So where were we making, were
Nope,
we
just
down to
wanted
the vote?
I think
we're ready to vote.
Yeah,
Okay,
I just wanted to
okay.
let everybody
All right,
give a little more
all-
context.
Thank you, Austin. Okay, so all in favor of adopting the consent agenda?
Aye.
Okay. And, okay, presentations. Let's
All right,
hear
we're-
about Recast City Cohort.
Yeah, we wanted to give, we gave an update to the Planning Commission on Tuesday regarding our efforts with Recast City. And it is a consulting firm that was founded by the former Chief of Staff of the Environmental Protection Agency's Smart Growth Program. She was there for 7 years. And after she left the Obama administration, after her term ended, she wrote a book about how to revitalize downtowns. And one of her main proponents is, instead of trying to attract large employers by giving funding to bring in proposed jobs, her concept is to provide an environment and an ecosystem where small scale production and maker spaces can be brought in to bring in those jobs, because small scale manufacturing brings in local employment. And as a backbone of local economies, your small employers is where the primary employment comes from. So we were selected. We were informed about the program being offered through the Michigan Municipal League and being completely all costs covered by the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation. So we put together a cohort, Tom and I, and we selected Tracy Williams. on behalf of Oakland Thrive, who is one of our DDA members, who's a resident, and also an employee of our representative to our small businesses from Oakland Thrive by providing business support. And then also, we have the president of the new Lathrup Village Chamber of Commerce also on our cohort. So we're trying to take a holistic look at this and come in with the different organizations we already have relationships with and how we can build them. So we are only a month in. We're just getting going. We're still in the goals and objectives process. But part of this is that it's $20,000 of consulting firm funds provided by her firm and completely covered by the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation. So we are trying to take full advantage of this opportunity to find a new way of utilizing our business district with more use types. So this would be just an additional use type, an additional economic development tool to provide a strategy that can be implemented but also maintained. Hey, Charlotte. For those who take over for Tom and I in the years to come. They can take this and run with it. So we just want to do a brief little overview of it, just so that everyone's aware. So right now, we're kind of got the working title of the Maker's Mile. So this would be in the village center, right around where we're at right now, would be the focus of the project. But the concepts and the ordinance changes to allow these type of use types would be implemented throughout the entire business district and through all of our corridors. And we are, part of this process will be eliciting discussion and feedback from residents, business owners, property owners, and prospective investors in the DDA district. This was a little bit of background on how we actually got informed of the opportunity. And we also got informed by Main Street Oakland County that they thought we would be a really good fit for it, for the unique circumstances and layout of our business district, where you have 696 bisecting it, cutting it in two, and then we have a 45-mile-per-hour, 5-lane roadway that is seen by the Road Commission of Oakland County as a thoroughfare to bring large amount of traffic from the southern part of Oakland County to the northern part. So it's very difficult to have a traditional walkable downtown when you have these challenges. So, and I think that's also one of the reasons we were selected, because Alana Cruz, who is the consultant, thought we would be a good case study to work with, and we're all in on this. So we put together an application, submitted it, and then we also did an interview with the firm, and we got selected. So we're one of 6 communities, Ypsilanti, Gibraltar, Ecorse, and there's a number of others. So
Pinckney is one, and I can't remember the
East Point.
East
East,
Point.
is it East Point? Yes.
So it's been fun. We meet together every other week on Teams for a couple hours, and then on those off weeks, like this week, we as a cohort meet and talk about what we want to see. And like I said, we're very early in this process, and we have no plans set in place. We're just taking it one beat at a time and going through every step to make sure that we utilize this to the fullest. So they select a cohort of 1 to 5 communities across the nation, but Michigan Municipal League and the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation said if you select communities in Southeast Michigan, we'll cover the cost. So that's how the program came to the region. So why explore these strategies? Nationwide data shows that retail environments are changing since the pandemic and the lockdown. People's shopping habits have changed, and the way they work have changed. They're not going into the office as much, and we need to adapt for the future and put ourselves in a position to thrive, rather than playing catch up when the time comes. Traditional storefronts are difficult to fill with retail alone. Smaller producers and makers are a growing segment of the economy. There are people who are looking to take a side hustle or a project, their business they're running out of their basement, into a brick and mortar space where anything that can be made, baked, or produced on site under one roof and sold in a retail front like a traditional downtown. So it's actually engaging people. One of the best examples is of a glass blowing studio in Knoxville, Tennessee, where they came in and they're just off of the Main Street, like on the back side of the building, but the retail front was available. So they advised them, they go, you guys should buy the retail, and people love watching glass blowing, so put glass windows in the production floor. So people come into the store, they can watch what's going on, and then buy the product right there. Communities are seeking flexible mixed-use business districts, and that's what we're trying to bring in. We're going to start with the Village Center and take this concept 12 Mile. There has been a long discussion since I started here 2 years ago with both City Council and Planning Commission to provide more use types to the office district on 12 Mile. It's very restricted. You can only have office space put into that area. So we want to open up to more use types because property owners are asking, they're like, what else can I do with my district? And part of the master plan, or their building, and then part of the master plan process has also been finding that we're looking at housing in the DDA. We have a project of the former historic school site that will bring housing units to the DDA district. And another interesting topic or fact that we found out during the master planning process is that we're roughly about the same size as the city of Huntington Woods, but we only have 65% of the households. So our tax base is smaller, even though we're the same size. So more housing brings in more taxes, and the city right now needs more revenue streams, so we're looking at any way we can bring them here. And this will also be a great opportunity to support local entrepreneurs in the community, but also in the region, and attract them here as being the place where if you are a maker or a small producer, you want to be here, because we're going to create an ecosystem with financial institutions to provide microloans, and also the technical assistance to start up a business. And also, just another point is that our planning consultant who's doing our master plan, Giffords Webster, is a fan of Alana Prus. She's a big fan of their book, and they are very excited for us to be a part of this process. And during our interview with Alana and Recast, we told them that we were going through our master plan process. And so they were both eager to be a part of this, and anything we learned from the master plan process will be shared with this project. And anything learned from this project will be shared with the master plan process to produce final products that are both usable, viable, and can be implemented in a step-by-step basis. So work currently underway. We're identifying economic barriers for entrepreneurs in our community, evaluating opportunities within the business corridor, and exploring zoning and policy considerations, developing goals for activating commercial spaces, and preparing for the next cohort workshop. So the goals for Lathrup Village: we're going to strengthen the business corridor, we're going to activate vacant or underutilized commercial space, support entrepreneurs and small businesses, explore zoning flexibility for small-scale production, and encourage new types of business activity in our village center and in all of our commercial districts. I'm going to now pass it over to Tom. He's going to go in a little further.
So basically what we want to do with this presentation was give you guys a better understanding of what we're doing, at least at a cursory glance, because we have mentioned this for a couple of months now, but we haven't gone into too much detail. We do want to change that today, give you guys a bit more context so that you know what's going to be coming and what our end goals are. So a lot of this is mentioning small-scale production and manufacturing, and we want to give you guys an idea of what that is to better understand for the community. Small-scale production is defined as a community of businesses that produce some kind of tangible good, as Austin mentioned. For context, think of this as woodworking on a small scale, jewelry, leatherworking, 3D printed goods, hair care and skincare products, biotech, hardware, etc., etc. Anything that can be made, produced, or shipped in-house, in-store, is considered small-scale manufacturing. And when we say in-house, think of a space no bigger than one of the retail spaces across the street with Rita's Ice or with S&E. A space that big can be a home for small-scale production. What is a makerspace or a maker's business? It's a small business. All it does is produce goods locally. They often combine production with showroom retail. They encourage entrepreneurship and local innovation, and they often activate underused storefronts. That is the key that we're trying to do here. The local innovation, this is not just locally within city, this is the greater community as a whole. This is Oakland County, this is getting some people from Macomb County. It's getting anybody who's a maker into our space, into our community, to spend time and ultimately spend money in our community. The Maker's Mile is something that we penned very early on in this project. It's a playoff of Chicago's Miracle Mile or St. Clair Shores Nautical Mile. It's an arbitrary mile-long destination. The reason I say arbitrary is because the Maker's Mile does sound better than the Maker's 2 miles, let's be honest.
Mile and a half.
Yeah, a mile and a half. What this is going to do is open a pathway for already existing businesses as well as bring in new businesses by permitting them to use small-scale manufacturing within the district. And instead of rezoning individual nodes or parcels per project request, the goal is that we're going to add use types throughout our entire zoning designations, at least for our business zoning designations. This isn't necessarily needed for the residential side, so we are going to be focusing solely on business district zoning. This is going to be an umbrella identity. The Maker's Mile acts as an overarching theme for the entire district. The Maker's Mile is not just one block, but an entire corridor-based initiative applied strategically across the entire commercial area. And under this umbrella are corridor-based creative production networks activated through targeted nodes. I'm going to go into a little bit more of that later in this process, not in this presentation, just because we are kind of strapped for time today. This program succeeds through community partners and organizations like Oakland Thrive, our Chamber of Commerce, Project Diamond through Automation Alley, Main Street, Oakland County, Michigan Economic Development Corporation, our financial institutions like Chase Bank, Michigan First Credit Union, and Huntington Bank, and finally, the Lathrup Village residents. This starts as a community-based initiative first, so we do need the community involved in some way. We are targeting our local producers before we target anyone outside of the city. And finally, questions and discussions. All we hope to do was provide you with a preliminary base of information to spur discussion or questions and intrigue amongst the community and all of you. These plans, I have to note, and I will note from now until the end of time, they are not final. Everything that we presented are still in the planning stages. So there's still plenty of time to make changes or plans, or to plans or ideas moving forward. Even a couple weeks ago, we made a massive change because we thought this was going to require an overlay district. Givels-Webster told us it didn't require an overlay, so we already have made massive changes to the planning of this. And then the planning for our planning commission, or question for the planning commission, which I do want to offer to you all. What opportunities do you see for small scale manufacturing locally? Are there zoning considerations that we should explore that maybe we haven't considered yet? How can we better support entrepreneurs in the corridor, both existing and new? And what concerns should be addressed early on in this process? Again, if there are any other questions aside for that, I please ask that you inquire with us, or for now, these are just some that I would have you all consider as well.
And I also want to note that when we do develop the ordinance changes, it is going to require, any business that would come in here to do small-scale production would require site plan review through the Planning Commission. And when we draft the updates to the ordinance, it's going to have criteria that needs to be reviewed as a part of it. So any type of negative externalities that they may be producing that could affect residential district or the other occupants in the business corridor, that they will need to be satisfied before they get approval to start operating within the city. So that's just something to just keep in mind as well, that they do need to go through the site plan review process.
Do we know what the vacancy rate is in our community?
It's hovering around, I think, 15 to 20%, something like that. I think it's actually more down 12 Mile.
And there's also a goal to bring in a diversification of businesses, because in certain segments we are over-concentrated. When it comes to personal care, salons, we have over 30 of them in the city. So it kind of becomes a real divisive business environment for them. So we just want to make sure that we have different opportunities for investors to look at when looking where they should locate. And Lathrup Village should definitely be a place any investor wants to look at. And we also don't want to over-restrict our property owners on what they can do with their property.
A lot of the zoning practices that we've done for the last so many years has been very restrictive, and this is a way to kind of alleviate that for our business owners and our property owners to just make things more acceptable.
And we are changing as an economy fast, so we need to adapt for the future and give ourselves the best opportunity to thrive by giving the largest amount of opportunities for investors to utilize our space in the commercial districts. So this is the beginning of a process that goes for 10 months. So you'll be hearing about it on a monthly basis. We're so excited that Tracy's a part of our team. It's been fantastic working with her. She already has a great relationship with the businesses when it comes to working with them through Oakland Thrive. And she's also a resident. So she's really committed to this community, just like Tom and I are. Please, if anybody has any feedback or any input, please don't hesitate in reaching out to us at any time. That's all we got for that.
Any additional board comments?
It's maybe too early, but I was just thinking of a communication plan.
Okay.
You know, how you're gonna do that in order to attract people and know that they have this opportunity.
No, that's good.
That's
Yep.
a good idea.
Yep.
I also wanted to add, great presentation, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was good.
But also I wanted to add that, for one, I'm excited about it. Lathrup Village is the only community as part of this cohort that's really, to me, it's taken more of a holistic view by involving various community partners like Oakland Thrive, like the Chamber. All of the other communities have strictly decided to work strictly with people in-house in their community, like council members or people in
Planning
finance and all of that, which I think is a great idea. Personally, that's my thought. But also, what they're doing is aligning with what Oakland County has already started doing. Oakland County has decided to support small businesses because they realize the impact that if the small business community is not doing well, that the economy does not do well. Because most people are employed, most of the people in this country are employed by small businesses. And again, if you have a large employer, usually if you give them incentives, by and far, most of the time when those incentives are gone, the employer is gone. So they're just aligning with what Oakland County has decided to support. I work for an employer as a result of what Oakland County is doing with small businesses. And so I applaud this, and I'm excited about it. And not just because I'm in it, but I think this is a great opportunity for Lathrup Village.
And there is a book that she wrote as well that we have, I know Austin and I have both ordered the book. And if anyone does want to read it, there is a Kindle version that is much cheaper and much more readily available at the moment. So if you order the actual paperback, it's going to take you about a week to get it, but electronically, you'll have it instantly. So if anyone's interested in it, it does give you some ideas of what we're going to be doing further with this, including best practices that we're going to be following moving forward.
And the title is?
It was mentioned in
Recast City.
Recast City.
Recast Your City,
Okay.
and
I got it right here. It's Recast Your City, How to Save Your Downtown with Small-Scale Manufacturing.
that's it.
Okay, all right.
And
Thanks,
cities
Gary.
of all different sizes have utilized this into different capacities, and they've seen success, so it's something we have to explore.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the first public comment opportunity. If anyone does have anything they'd like to say, please go up to the microphone.
Specific to this issue, or?
Not necessarily.
And we were going to add a second public comment. It didn't get included in the agenda.
Oh, okay.
So we can make a motion to add one
Okay.
before the end
All
of the meeting.
Fine.
So hi, I'm Jonathan Terra. I haven't been a pest to this board yet, but I'm a friendly pest.
Welcome.
Definitely.
Yeah, okay, get some head shaking here. Go ahead. So I have a question actually for Austin, and I know you don't have to answer questions. This is just to put a bug in your ear. And I wanted to show up early and ask you a question. I'm trying to put together an easy way to answer questions about the planning commission's task, which is to come up with a new updated master plan. And I'm playing around with a little AI. I'm a software engineer. I'm trying to gather together documents in a workspace. And I'm trying to find the latest development plan, DDA development plan. The master plan site has helped me find some things. It's kind of in disparate places. The only thing I have located in terms of a DDA plan is a 2011 plan. Is that current? And if not, where do I find updates? Have they been incorporated into a document where you can read it with the amendments, or do I have to find the 2011 plan and these amendments and these amendments and these amendments? How do I see what the actual goals of the DDA are? And that's my comment.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, where are we here?
We got one more.
Oh, Rick?
Rick Wiz, I just want to make a comment that I'm very impressed with this presentation, and I think we're looking at some great ideas. So congratulations to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Let's move along then to Lathrup Village Music Festival planning update.
So I think it would be most productive if Lauren gives her update, but then she stays up here because the first two items are regarding contracts for the music festivals.
Okay, hi, and hello to our new member. Last month, I gave updates, and I estimated that we had $27,000 in pledged sponsorships. Wanted to give you an update that we're at $30,600 now, with several big opportunities that are yet to confirm, and hopefully we will have some of those confirmed by our next meeting. Remember that last year our festival cost $28,000 for the whole festival, so I'm already above that for funding. Let's see, the actual money in our account right now for LVMF is $22,000 minus current expenses, and I have a list of that too, if you want to keep a note of that. Our car dealership potential will hopefully develop by our next meeting. We have a meeting in early April. Aquatots is very interested in sponsoring the Family Fun Zone, but they haven't decided on a sponsorship level yet, so we're excited to talk to them. They won't be able to confirm till July, but we're in talks with them. My target to raise this year is $40,000. Last year it was $32,000, and we fell below that budget. My estimated expenses are at about 36, but I'm hoping to keep well below those estimated expenses. Last year we had a raise 32, but we came in at 28. I expect the same kind of thing this year. Money spent so far total $6,024.79. That's musician deposits, potties, printing, and some miscellaneous expenses. So we have $22,000, and we've spent $6,000 so far. I wanted to make sure you knew that. All musician contracts have been submitted, and most deposits have been paid. I have a list of all the bands and what they're kind of like, but I know that you're pressed for time today, so I will leave this behind if you want to look at it and or email it to all of you. So you have that. We had the Halfway to the Music fundraiser. It's not a fundraiser, but a fundraiser, and an opportunity for us to, again, bring the community together. Billy Brandt and Elaine Schoendorf performed from 7 to 9. It was a really windy night. We lost power in much of the village. It had been a terrible week that we had a shooting in West Bloomfield, and we came anyway. People came anyway. And it was really a great night. Cast Iron Cornbread surprised everybody by showing up, and that was really fun too. So, our Family Fun Zone update, I met with Parks and Rec yesterday, and the new member from Parks and Rec is going to be a real benefit to that group. We're looking at booking face painters and balloon artists. They're helping me look for blow-ups presently, and I'm planning on having more kid-friendly vendors and activities for kids, and again, aquatots. We'll know by July. The Lathrup Village Chamber of Commerce, again, I wanted to mention that I've been very involved with Mark Watts in the Live in Lathrup Village podcast, featuring civic leaders, residents, and businesses. This gives me the opportunity also, as a producer of the LVMF, to bring in sponsors and musicians and vendors, and also as part, working with the DDA to bring in businesses from the district. I will be interviewing Chase Bank next week, and Jill Bain from Giffords Webster. We've interviewed LVMF performer Wayne Gerard. He's a Grammy-nominated producer, musician, husband, Lathrup Village resident. That's pretty exciting. And yesterday we interviewed Cast Iron Cornbread, our headlining band. They're so excited to be part of this and to be part of Lathrup Village. They feel very rooted in this community, and we're so excited to have them. Next, parking. I wanted to let you know that we've been in talks with Troy and Clausen Rotary Clubs. They're waiting to talk to their prospective boards about this, and they were both they work independently, but they were both very excited about the opportunity to be involved in that, and that we would allow them to take donations, and we offered them an opportunity to either pay them in donation or to pay a small amount. Today I'm looking also for two contract approvals. Neil Sever, our stage lighting and sound engineer, he's been with us for the last 2 years and has done a great job, especially with the problems that have surfaced. Last year we might not have had a headliner if it hadn't been for Neil's quick thinking in helping us electronically. This guy and his team are real pros. He's been working in the music industry since the late 60s and has worked with the biggest names there are. This year, we asked him to add a few things. We wanted, this was feedback that we got from people, we wanted lights down in front of the stage so people can dance when it gets a little bit dark and see. Some of our elders especially couldn't see, and the ground's not even. So we wanted to make sure we had that. And to play background music between sets instead of a DJ this year. What we thought, we loved our DJ last year, and that was Elisa here in the city. She was great. But what we found is that we want opportunities to push people out to the family area, to the vendors, and to the food trucks. And we think they'll get more if we put a little more time between our musicians and we just play background music and we're not entertaining up front. So we did that too. And we're adding speakers on the fence so that people can hear a little past, not loud, but just so people can still hear if they don't want to sit within that drinking area, if they want to be outside that. Last year, that price for Neil with lights, stage, sound, tech, and being with us all day was $5,700. This year with the add-ons that we've asked, he's only increased it $400. So $6,100. It's amazing. I have contacted 8 other companies that do this sort of thing. And remarkably, I found out what a deal we are getting. One company who would have to rent equipment outside, they don't have everything that Neil has, they'd have to rent some things outside, came in at just over $46,000. I gave them all the same spec sheet. Another very reasonable bid came in at just under $14,000. This bid actually came from a Lathrup Village resident. Like Neil, he's been around for a long time and is well versed behind the scenes on music festival or music venues of any kind. His name is John Markshausen. He's a Lathrup Village resident, and I want to keep him in mind because Neil's going to retire in the future. So it's something for us to keep in mind. Something I also want on record for everyone to keep in mind is that, and John even said it, no one can do for us what Neil is doing for us. So when the time does come that Neil has to retire, we may have to spend twice as much as we're spending now for the same things. So I'd like to get that one approved. The other one is for our face painters for our family fun zone. The Parks and Rec Department wanted to have a face painter and they wanted to have a balloon artist. They gave me references last year, and that's how I found them, the ones that we have this year, or last year. And so this year I made those calls. Last year they did. And Tom and I have been talking about it, what to bring in as far as you know, those activities. So anyway, we called Suki, who was our partner last year, our face painter last year, and her partner. They were a huge hit, cranked out amazing work for 4 straight hours. They don't take a break, they just keep going for 4 hours. Everyone boasted about their body art, from little kids to our oldest, kids at heart. This is another activity that brings and draws the community together. Their price is $150 an hour per artist plus tips. And the reason I bring up tips is because we don't want to have a tip jar out. we didn't know this last year, but they had a tip jar out. And I guess this is traditional, something that they do everywhere they go. But we want this area to be free for our kids. So we don't want any parent to walk up and feel intimidated that suddenly there's a tip jar, they can't do it, and so their kid doesn't get face painted. We want this to be a totally inclusive event. And so we noticed that, and then we asked them, how can we change that? So it's $150 an hour times 4 hours times 2 artists plus 20% tip equals $1,440 for that group. Now, I did call other face painters too. One quote that I got from a good face painter I saw online was $1,460 plus tips, which would be $292, plus a setup fee for $140. Nobody had ever told me that before, but a setup fee. That one was $1,892, more than the one that we already knew about. And the third one I called, they came in at a lot less. They came in at $110 an hour plus tips. $400 for the first artist and $440 for the second artist plus tips. It'd be $1,008. The reason that I still want to go with Suki is because this group is booked out. They have one face painter available. The other artist would be a temporary tattoo artist, like the temporary tattoos you buy at the store and you put on with a wet towel. And we could do that if we had the manpower. It's not what we're looking for. And Parks and Rec have done that for activities and other family events, and it went over great, but that's not what we're looking for this. So I didn't really want to compromise. I wanted to give them, kind of the best face painting, but not the best, I guess. No, they're really great. I don't want to say they're not the best. They're really great, and I would say that the average prices that I'm finding for face painters are between $130 and $160 an hour, plus tips.
It's in the lowest bidder, it would be an artist and then somebody who would apply temporary tattoos, which we could have a volunteer do that. So it's not really getting a good value for our money. So we would like to have two face painting artists. And so when the time comes, we're going to look at that contract. That'll be the second item here. Thank you.
Okay.
You can stay up for questions.
I have a question. Looking at the environment we're in today and the concern for safety, have you considered that as far as security for the event?
I'm so glad you asked that. I'm so glad you asked that because my husband calls me Queen Fairy President of the Safety Club. And I am all about safety. And from our very first LVMF, we brought in then Lieutenant Zhang, now Chief Zhang, and he has implemented a safety protocol for the festival every year. He meets with us and discusses it again. We have, last year we had 7 uniformed police from our department, and we also have Oakland County sheriffs that come, and they donate their time. They're looking forward to it again this year. We pay the police out of our budget, our police, and I want to reiterate, everything is sponsored. There's not a dollar that comes out of the city budget, not a dollar. Everything is sponsored, and also your generous sponsors as well. And I want to be a good steward of that money. And so, but public safety is really important. Last year, our headliner had a terrifying experience the night before at Southfield at a rain date concert, and someone approached the stage, rushed her on the stage, jumped up and tried to attack her. So she was really afraid to perform for us. In fact, it was the very next night. So I told Chief Zhang about it. He had officers posted around the stage and behind the stage, and they even spoke to her to calm her nerves. So I feel very confident in our safety protocol. I've also talked to Detective Sergeant Houston, and he will be training this year to take it over for Chief Zhang. So we've already been in talks about that. And an extra thing is Karen Harris, and you may know her, she's a resident, is an RN. And so she is our on-call nurse for the day.
good.
And we do have like an emergency area. This year, we're going to make it more prominent. We've had it at the DDA booth, but we're going to make it more prominent into the children's area where we most likely would need it with a bouncy house. And, you know, Karen can't do emergency services, but she can. She is an RN, and she can advise. And we always keep, because of Chief Zhang's protocol, we keep emergency lane services through the festival.
Yeah, we love working with Chief Zhang, and
So good.
it is something safety plan he puts together is done very diligently. And he looks at all aspects, and him and Sergeant Houston, they went to the call out in West Bloomfield last week. They
Okay.
make things they know how to be hands-on as also be advisors. So we feel like we're in good hands with them, and we look forward to working with them on this year's festival, so it's safe and everybody can enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Back to the face painting. Now, I'm looking at what's on our budget here, and there's a chart showing the three and the total price for
The
each.
first one is, it did not include all of the fees, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, I got,
It's the hourly rate, but not the additional costs as well. It says $840, but it's actually $1,000.
1,008.
Oh, for the first face painter? Oh,
And
here,
the
let me look
second
at my.
one,
Yeah, the
It's
numbers you were giving were a little different from the
$14.40
ones that we
Yeah.
have.
Well, see, I got-
$150 an hour times 4 hours times 2 artists plus tip.
oh, this says 140 an hour. Okay, that's why I got a different rate.
Yeah, $150 an hour times 4 times
Oh,
2
okay,
artists.
150.
Okay,
That
all right,
might
that
be a
makes sense
typo.
then. I always question my own math skills, but.
That's okay, and, yeah,
No, we want to make sure everything is
Occasionally have a typo.
transparent and
Okay.
you have the best information available.
Okay.
right.
So we start with the stage, lighting, and sound contract.
Okay. Let me get there.
So that is our first item. In preparation, this has to be rock solid. This is our stage and our sound. We got to make sure we have a good production for our artists to perform on. And we've had a really good setup the last 3 years, and the artists have all mentioned how great they've enjoyed performing there and also being a part of the festival. And we've had artists who keep asking to come back. Our headliner, Cast Iron Cornbread, they're our in-house band. They've been here at all the festivals. So this year, we're giving them our top slot. They're going to headline, and they're going to put on a hell of a show. But we did our due diligence, especially Lauren. She's called around and made sure that we're getting the best rate. And she went through it, and then I took her notes and put them in the chart here to show all of who she contacted and all of the communications she had with them. And we still believe with Robert Jensen and Neil Sever, we're getting the best performance. And last year, we did have an issue where the setup of the sound equipment brought by our headliner did not adapt to what we had on stage. But luckily, because they're seasoned veterans, they found out a way to bypass it and get it going, or we wouldn't have had a headliner last year. So these guys, they know what they are doing, and they're giving us a great rate. So during last year's event, Robert Jensen and Neil Sever provided high-quality mixing consoles, line arrays, monitors, cabling with unwavering reliability. Their team handled setup the day prior. The owner was out here on the day of the prior to set up, and they had another venue fall through, and the venue wanted the stage they put up down that day. So they were working on 2 sites on one day, and they were able to get everything off with no delay. They are hardworking and they're reliable. The quote rate is consistent with last year's package, as Lauren said, with a modest increase of $400, but that's because we're getting more out of them. They're actually providing more services. The additional cost, its total cost is $6,100. The additional cost reflects expanded services, including additional lights for dance areas, speakers outside the fenced-in area, and DJ services between sets. These enhancements, particularly the inclusion of on-stage management. So they're going to provide more of the on-stage management for the artists going on and off the stage, which will allow the planning committee to concentrate on other critical events operations during the festival. So they're really stepping up and providing us more services, and that comes out of who they are as professionals, but also the relationship we've created with them. They know what we're looking for, and they can fulfill it beyond what we're asking. So the budget impact is, there will be no budget impact. This is covered all by sponsors. The DDA general fund will not be touched. And also for the last 2 years, the $10,000 that you've all been generous enough to donate to the festival has been returned. And our goal this year with the sponsorship rate we have goals that we have are to return that $10,000 you've given us to us. So thank you. And we do recommend Robert Jensen and Neil Sever. There were many other contractors contacted, and we just can't beat their price and the value that they provide.
We get it. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the selection of Robert Jensen and Neil Server for stage and lighting and sound, and authorize the DDA director to execute all contracts with an amount not to exceed $6,100.
I support that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and now I guess we're ready for a vote on the face painters?
Yes, apologies for the incorrect totals, but I'm glad we were able to get that sorted out because, like I said, I want to make sure you guys all have the best information. And we have our team here, the planning committee, we have our little term that we're squeaky clean like a church mice. Everything is done on the up and up. We have nothing to hide. We're an open book. So we did reach out to other vendors, and the vendor from last year was the lowest who could provide 2 face painters. So we could have the lowest bidder from Face Painters of Michigan, but due to how high in demand these type of artists are at this time of the year in the summer, they only have one artist. And we met following the festival in 2024, we met with the DDA board. We took in your feedback. You said that we needed to add a family element, and as the festival is growing, it was a good time to add that in. And luckily with the coordination with Parks and Rec Committee, we met with them, and they said the one thing was face painters. And all of the mothers on board said, kids love it. And they were right, they do. So we want to make sure that we provide the same level of entertainment and value with the family fun zone while providing a little more. We're growing it this year. So we would be paying a higher premium, but we're getting the 2 artists. The temporary tattoo, we could go with one face paint artist and then have a volunteer do the temporary tattoos, but because it's such a desirable activity for the kids, it takes 2 painters to do it. So, and so we are asking, we also got a 3rd quote that was higher than the contractor from last year, and we were also able to work with them in a manner that they were professional and reliable as well. So we brought this to you that we recommend Suki, but because of the lower bidder that did not meet all of the requirements, we are open to your guys' input and direction on which artist or which contract you would like and vendor to go with.
Just one question. So the 2 face painters would each work 4 hours? Would that be
Yes.
simultaneously?
Yes,
Or?
simultaneously, so there's
Okay.
not a long line of children.
Okay.
Yeah, because they still have weight. They're really in demand, but 2 of them just keep going.
Okay.
And they're committed to small and medium pieces so that it doesn't go too long. You know, they don't make people wait too long. But people can come back too. You can have more than one.
Okay. All right, so we're looking for a motion to approve Suki as the face painter for $1,440, or if somebody wants to make a different motion, that's fine too, but I'll need a motion.
Motion to approve the use of Suki at the music festival, and authorize the DDA director to finalize the vendor arrangements with them for a maximum amount of $1,440.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. We're moving on to perennial flowers purchase?
Yes. So in coordination with the Lathrup Village Nature Group, especially with Reed Bosky, he has taken on a multi-year project to enhance the flower beds around City Hall in the police department, as well as the monument sign out front here to beautify City Hall grounds. He has renderings, I should have included them in here, of each of the flower boxes, but this year's installment, he's looking to install perennials in the flower beds on the north side of the building. And 2 years ago, we put in small trees and bushes to enhance them. And last year was the first installment of the Perennials. And this is going to be a multi-year project going forward. So this is just one installment of the complete project to beautify City Hall grounds. He reached out and received 3 quotes for the flowers that he was looking to obtain. We got from New Leaf Natives, Michiganese Natives, and Feral Flora. He is an employee of Michiganese, so we were able to get a 10% discount, so we're getting a rate. And then there'll be no cost for installation because he and other volunteers from the city will be doing the installation. So we'll take delivery here at City Hall grounds, and then that weekend they will install the flowers. Michiganese came in at $1,127.63. Feral Flora was $1,457.50. New Leaf Natives was $1,778.68. So we are looking for a motion to approve a contract with Michiganese Natives to secure the flower species we would like to install this year. And we expect that this year's beautification will only enhance the grounds around us, which is also in the DDA district.
Just one other note, these are all native plants, so they'll be more likely to thrive on neglect. Ready for a motion?
I'll make a motion using the language in the DDA agenda packet. I move that the DDA approve the contract for Michigan and Natives to fulfill the order for perennial flowers to be installed surrounding City Hall grounds located in the DDA district.
Support.
Okay, we have support. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. What is next? Proposed DDA city cost sharing agreement.
So this is our cost share agreement that the DDA has with the city on costs. So we break it down by line item of what will be paid for by the DDA. Some of them is outright cost, some of them is up to a certain amount. Over that, the city will pay. I've been meeting with both our city administrator, Mike Green, and Mayor Bruce Cantor, to talk about this because our current cost share agreement runs through 2021 and FY26. So at the end of June, our cost share agreement will expire and we'll need to have a new one in place by July 1st. So we took a look at what the key changes would be. This would be an increase in I-696 drive maintenance costs, which is in the DDA district, related to snow removal and mowing the lawn in that area and maintain it. They also clear out any debris along the expressway to keep it clean. Increased planning consultant fee budget. This is due to the planning consulting nationwide in the industry going up. Adjustment to staff allocations, including DDA, assuming 100% of DDA special project manager position, and increased liability insurance and technology costs. Both of those are set costs that we don't get to set our liability insurance costs. It is what it is, and technology is only becoming more and more a part of the governance and workflow in local government. Bruce did a great job over the last 2-3 years with town halls talking about it. And when I met with him the first time I met
with that.
The first time I sat down with Bruce, he went through the financials that he's been presenting at those town halls, and even I was surprised at how much it comes to the technology, which was not contemplated when the funding and revenue streams were first created for local governments. But we have to have those to be a modern operating office. So the cost comparisons for the FY 21 to 26 contract to the proposed 26 to 2031 contract would take the I-696 maintenance from $5,000 to $50,000. It's a $45,000 increase, which is a 900% increase. Streetscaping will remain the same at $10,000. Technology and software will increase from $2,700 to $3,000 for a $300 increase, which is 11% change. Planning and consulting fees will go from $15,300 to $20,000, would be a change of $4,700, and that's a 31% change overall. and the liability insurance would be increased from $4,657 to $6,000, and the cost, for a total cost of $1,343 for an increase of 29%. I worked with our finance director to receive what costs we've been paying out for the I-696 maintenance. So this is lawn maintenance, snow removal, and then also debris clearing. And from the beginning of the current in-place cost share agreement, from July 1st, 2021 to March 19th, 2026, the DDA has paid, the costs have come to a total of $110,936. And when it comes to snow removal, we've been finding that there's been fewer and fewer contractors. The profit margins aren't there like they used to be. So businesses that used to do it are pivoting from snow removal to holiday lighting of commercial contracts. And other ones have been downsizing and actually selling their equipment. So the costs are going up to get it done. And this year was a heavy snow, so we had to pay more to get it all removed. And this district, this part of I-696 is in the DDA district. So there is an increase, but the cost is there. There is a reason for that increase.
All right, let's slow down here a second. So the chart that you provided, it says as an annual cost included in both agreements. Does that mean that this is the amount that the DDA is paying and the city is also paying an identical amount?
So the way this has worked since 2021, essentially, unless the DDA approves something differently year to year, the DDA pays this as a max, then everything else falls to the city. The best example and the easiest one to really track is planning consultant. So every single year we pay a monthly retainer for Giffords Webster's planning services and then pay them for all site plan reviews. What it has been essentially is the DDA would pay the first $15,300, then any additional bill the city receives from them is paid from the city. So this is just updating the cost share agreement to match that. Yeah, the I-696 looks like a large increase, but as Austin mentioned, the $50,000 when we were talking about this is essentially trying to put a cap on what the DDA is going to spend. Over the past 2 years, the DDA has flown past $50,000 because of the approved work we've done via Paradise for mowing and then snowfall. So what we're trying to do essentially with this new agreement is putting a cap on what the DDA is going to pay for that.
And Mike brought up a good point with planning fees, because last year with and this also goes into our fee structure, proposed changes I'm going to be taking to Mike that will go to City Council, is that with the project north of us at the historic site, the site plan review fees were exponential. And we blew past our $15,000 cap by November, and the city covered the rest of it. So we only paid for a preservation of our historic school and our DDA to be a hallmark for our DDA. We only had to pay $15,300, and the city covered the rest. So this is just a cap of what the DDA will be responsible for and what the city is responsible for. So it's what is expected of us as the DDA and what we expect from the city. So it's just putting it in line items and putting caps on it so each party knows what to expect from the other.
Okay, any other questions?
I may have asked this before, but have anybody explored trying to contract with Oakland County for this snow removal?
We can go around it next
Yeah.
time. This was through a competitive bid process, and this is the numbers we got. But 11 Mile right there is not a county road; it's a city road. So they would still probably charge us a good amount to take care of it.
It wouldn't be free. We'd have to pay for it.
I'm not saying it would be free,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying.
But yeah, we
can reach out to them.
Yeah, we can definitely explore that next time we quote it out. But
It was too late to get them to do it. They had already
And-
told us no, but next time we can set it up earlier.
And the contract we currently have in place for lawn maintenance is a 3-year contract, and this is our final year with Paradise. So we are actually right now updating the RFQ to begin probably in the summer. We'll start requesting quotes for next year's lawn maintenance. So.
And what's our, what's the typical amount we end up paying for the planning consultant? Do we usually go exceed our 1,530,
Yeah,
300?
I'd say retainer alone gets you essentially to that $15,000-$20,000 mark, and then it's
Oh,
naturally
okay.
project dependent and how many site plans are
Yeah.
received. But
Yeah, I mean, my
I-
thinking was, well, we're going to have very few big projects this year, but
it,
it sounds like that doesn't matter.
it sneaks up on you, even when it's just a simple change of use. You still get an hourly or two fee for them just to review the site plan, make sure it works. Or if you get a bigger project, like we know we talked about next door a lot, even Holbrook Auto, and they just essentially did a facade replacement. It's the fees for any consultant service can sneak up real quick.
It does.
And especially when from a city perspective, at least when the majority of your planning fees are within your DDA district, because it is the entire business district, to us, from the city perspective, it makes sense that you guys would at least cover this portion, then the city would pick up everything else.
And that's very fair, and even when we have to go to the zoning board of appeals, it requires the consultant to be a part of it. And over the last couple of months, I've been, as an urban planner, I've been trying to take on more of the site plan review drafting for the staff reports, which has helped lower costs. And that's something we plan to do going forward.
All right, are we ready to make a motion to?
One last question. So you project that the I-696 maintenance is going to cost about 112 or whatever number you mentioned annually?
No, it's cost roughly 60 grand each year over the past couple of years. That's why when we're talking 50 grand felt like a fair number for the DDA, and the city picks up everything else. Because
Okay.
on top of this, the city also pays for any of the construction.
Yeah,
that
all
happens over
capital
there.
will be done
So
by the
for
city.
example, the city paid roughly 300 grand last year for repaving, which
Okay.
the DDA doesn't have to cover.
But this 50,000, that's for 4 years, correct?
Yep.
Oh,
Well, each.
Each
year.
Each year.
Oh, each year?
Yeah.
Okay.
But if we're able to stay under it, then this is just a cap. We won't exceed it.
I guess my question was, how much is it in total each year, approximately, with the city plus DDA in terms of how much is expended?
For 696, we'd have to pull multiple line items. We could try to dig that up for you, but that's going to
Oh,
encompass
okay.
everything from construction to lawn maintenance to
Capital
That all,
improvements.
okay, that all falls under maintenance?
yeah.
Okay.
One of the reasons we put we reference snow removal and grass removal, it's because that's been an approved contract from the DDA over the past couple of years, and that's why we try to put it in parentheses to emphasize like this also includes this.
Oh, okay.
So realistically, in my head, that's pretty much the bill that the DDA is going to cover. Everything else falls to the city.
Got it.
But-
And again,
Okay.
just to confirm alignment, if I could please, we've spent $60,000 over the last couple of years, so in essence, everything else remaining the same, this would cap us at a cost save.
Well, it won't, if anything creeps up, it would allow the DDA to be capped at a certain amount.
Yeah.
And anything else would be passed on back to the city to
All
cover.
right, very good.
Did you touch on the change in percentage of salaries?
That's something we're going to discuss in the next budget item.
Okay.
And, yeah, so one of the proposals with the budget for this coming year is, I don't want to get too in-depth on it, but maybe I should have reversed these agenda items, is that we're done with our 5-year capital improvement of the alleyways. And right now, we have no major capital improvement projects for FY '27. So we're proposing to make the part-time special projects coordinator position from part-time to full-time, especially with us going through the master plan, us working with Recast City, which we've got a grant on for $20,000 to cover the entire cost. And also with Tom Murray having relationships with both internal departments and external stakeholders, he'd be a good fit to bring on full-time. And with me taking on more of the site plan review process, actually drafting a report, I could use additional help in the office. So that is why 100% is identified here, that all the costs would come from the DDA for this position.
Let me just remind the DDA did have 2 full-time employees until about 2 years ago.
True.
We had naturally some turnover and then some cost-saving measures we had to implement. But the DDA seems in good financial standing to take on another transition from part-time to a full-time next year.
And Tom comes with a master's degree in public administration, and he's been working with us for a year and a half now, and he's been a great team player.
So would his duties expand then?
It would.
I mean, I remember, several years ago when we made this part-time arrangement, the then assistant DDA director was spending 10% of her time with doing city business, not DDA business. Is that even relevant anymore? Do we break it down as far as who's
I'd say
working
one of the
for who,
reasons we
or-
went to the 100 is because, Andrew, we think it's a good idea for the DDA to have another full-time person. You all are not aware the city is under financial stress in the coming year. The city realistically cannot eat 10% of another body if we want to bring someone on. That is why one thing we did edit in here, under the term of the agreement, we did include, we can put a 90-day reopener. So if the city does get into better financial standing, we could come back to the DDA board, or the DDA can request the city, hey, let's reopen this and put it back to 90-10. But you are correct, it used to be 90-10.
Yeah.
But the city, we cannot eat another 10% of a salary right now.
Okay.
And going back to something John mentioned about how the economic development strategy for the DDA hasn't been updated since 2011, that is something when going through this process with the consultant, we will have a step-by-step process that can be implemented. So having Tom on board will help us get the most out of this opportunity.
I think it actually has been updated. Like when I joined the board in 2020, I think it was, I was given a big binder of the most recent, DDA plan, and it was not 2011. I think
Okay.
it was.
But
10
that may
years
be
ago.
true, and I can go back and
Yeah.
look. But the way the environment right now in the economy is that it's shifted from then, and things are changing very quickly. So we just want to make sure we're in the best position to maximize our commercial districts and give the city any additional revenue streams that we can find and locate.
Okay. Other questions or comments?
So that special project manager position, that total is not in any of these categories here. That's something else, another line item figure that's not here.
Yeah, so that's figuring in that it is the cost, and yeah, I should include that in the chart, but it would be, like Mike said, that this used to be a full-time position, but with it being cut down to part-time, it would have additional costs, but you'll see in our budget that even including a full-time project coordinator position, so the manager, it should be coordinator position, that we will be under budget for the year.
Okay.
To be fair, in large part because we aren't doing any big projects. That's
Yep.
that's the
So it
The
kind of works
savior of
out.
our
But
yeah.
it's fluid, right, from year to year.
Okay, does anyone want to make a motion to approve the cost share agreement?
I'll make a motion to approve the cost share agreement between the DDA and the city of Lathrup Village.
Anybody second?
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Okay, and moving on to the fiscal year 27 draft.
So for the last month, I've been working with Mike and also our financial director, Michelle, to look at the next year ahead. FY27 begins on July 1st. So we can, depending on how you guys would like it, we can either review the budget today and then make a motion on it next month, or we can take a look at it. But I will present the show that for this upcoming year, it is projected that the total revenues are estimated to be $533,500, reflecting updated taxable values and tax increment financing capture projections. The TIF revenue alone remains the primary funding source projected at $422,500. Additional revenues may include reimbursements, sponsorships, and program-related income where applicable. And also, we are in the running for a $40,000 grant? $60,000 grant from Main Street America, which is funded through General Motors. So we are hoping to get that, which would be additional revenue item. Expenditures, personnel salaries and wages adjusted to reflect the conversion of the part-time projects coordinator position to a full-time role, strengthening DDA's capacity to implement priority projects, manage day-to-day operations, and advance economic development initiatives within the district. One of those is getting our facade and sign grant program back up and running. We are hoping to bring to you next month a draft version of it, and then have those funds awarded before the end of May of this year. So capital improvements, continued investment in priority infrastructure projects. Actually, these were completed, and the only ones that we actually added to the capital improvement plan were wayfinding signage in the DDA district. We found that a project on the northern commercial vehicular district it's just south of 12 Mile on Southfield Road. It's a building that literally has no on-site parking, and they had to get a variance. And there is a city parking lot next to that building of 28 spaces, and then they have about 18 spaces in the county right-of-way. Our one big capital improvement would be the installation of a wayfinding signage to identify free public parking in that parking lot. We'd go by that parking lot all the time, and there's nobody in it, and it's because nobody knows that it's there. So to help the businesses and the properties in that area, as well as utilize that parking space, that would be the one capital improvement because of the 5-year multi-million-dollar alleyway project being completed. Events and promotion, continued support for community-driven events such as the Lathrup Music Festival, the Winter Festival, and other activations that drive foot traffic and community engagement. Business development programs, like I mentioned, the facade improvement grant program, we're proposing to be $10,000 for next year. Sign grant program will be $20,000. These programs are critical tools to support reinvestment and attract new businesses. So we have the budget down here. We'll have a total revenue of $533,500. What we're looking to receive, what we received last year for this budget year, and then our total expenditures would be $490,030, which is $43,470 less than last year. So like I said, we can either review it and discuss it this month and vote next month, or if you feel comfortable, we can vote to approve.
Opinions? I mean, I don't know if everybody's had a chance to really review it. If not, I'd just as soon wait a month.
And that's how we've typically done it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. This isn't a deal breaker as far as the vote goes, but I'd be interested. I'm looking at the flock safety cameras
Yes.
item. I'd be really interested in having Chief Zhang, give us an update. Okay, it's been 2 years now, I think, since we've had the cameras. How's it going? Do they check it all the time?
We can definitely have.
Have we ever solved a case because of the flock cameras?
Every day.
Yeah, it
Every
is.
day.
Even, I'll be honest with you. I'm just going to be very honest with you. I was a little skeptical of flock cameras originally, just the concept of them because of tracking of movement. But I have found out that they are so incremental and beneficial in providing police departments and law enforcement the information they need. We've solved crimes in our district. We've also solved crimes in other communities because when you're in the flock system, it's not just your cameras you get access to. You get access to all surrounding communities as well. And we can definitely have Chief Zhang here next month to talk about the benefit. It is a cost of roughly $8,000, but
No,
just
I see 15,000.
is it 15,000? 15,000. When we originally opened up negotiations for the cost share, there was a proposal for $50,000 for police. Talking to fellow communities and talking with Oakland County Economic Development, that in doing research found that most communities where DDAs do provide cost share to the police department, is because they have a large nightlife. So think of East Lansing or Royal Oak, where they'll put a line item that we'll be paying for 2 officers to be on duty from this time to this time on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. And our downtown district is not not really like that. So talking with Bruce and Mike,
Come on, Jaybirds gets wild outside, especially in the summer.
talking with them, and they were very fair that the DDA is already paying into public safety $15,000, and also they are beneficial to not just our residents but also our commercial property owners and our businesses in the district.
Well, I still think it would be worthwhile to have.
No,
you
we
in
will.
here
Yeah,
and
we'll
talk
definitely
about
have
it. I mean,
that.
for nothing else, to go on record. So, I mean, I know there are, out there on the internet, there was a lot of concern about surveillance and, who are we sharing our information with, if anybody, and.
Yeah, a good question would be
the-
how long the data is kept. So
Yeah.
there is a
Yeah.
cap on how long, it's how many
Right.
days.
And do we even own the data? I mean, or is it?
It's held on
the
their
company
servers.
that owns
Yeah, it's held on
Flop,
their servers.
It's
yeah.
it's really their database, and
When I worked in,
so I think it would just be an interesting
no, and that's
thing
very
to know
fair.
more about.
Because when I worked for Hamtramck, when it was first proposed, it got denied.
Mm-hmm.
And then the police chief came back months later and did a new presentation. And I was also skeptical about Big Brother watching over you. And but they are so beneficial to solving crime and give law enforcement another tool to get those who are bad actors in our community.
You know, I wasn't even aware we had flock cameras. How many, do you know how many there are?
4.
4.
And approximately where are they always on public streets, or where are they, like,
Southfield Road.
Southfield Road.
all on Southfield Road?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
But apparently not enough to catch the plant thieves.
No. Oh my God.
Where are our pots?
But yeah, just return the pots. You can have the flowers.
Should have been on
Yeah,
camera.
Pots are expensive.
Okay.
Jeff, so you're aware, last year our contractor who did the flowers did such a phenomenal job. 6 of them got stolen.
I read that or
Yeah.
heard that in one of the
Yeah.
prior meetings, yes.
So we worked with our DPW crew and they raised them up so that they won't be in reach as easily.
Great idea.
Yeah, it's easily stolen.
Yeah.
All right, so are we agreed? We don't need a motion, right? We can just
No, not
agree
today, no.
to.
I did have a question.
Yep.
though. On the Word doc, I'm thinking the numbers are just flip-flop for the facade and the sign grant, because under the recommended budget, they're flipped.
Is
The
it?
sign grant is 10 and the facade is 20. I just want to know what are.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, we are going to do 10,000. In the Word doc, they are flipped because
Okay.
it will. We looked into it, and it's about $2,000 to $3,000 for the sign permits we're receiving of what the cost is. So we think 10,000 is sufficient.
Okay.
But we also want to have enough funding available for the facades that people are incentivized to go forward with it. And we're going to bring program guidelines to you guys next month, and one of them is going to be either a 50-50 match, and also that they'll be reimbursed after the work is completed.
Okay,
So-
so the
spreadsheet is
sign,
correct.
the
Yeah,
spreadsheet is
correct,
correct.
the
Okay,
Word doc
thank
is
you.
not.
Thank you.
I'll go into it a little bit more next month, but conversing with other communities is kind of shown us that 50-50 for signage works, and then a reimbursement in general, but a full-scale reimbursement on facade seems to be the better way.
Yeah, so right now, I think we were thinking like 5 sign
Yep.
facade, or sign grants to be awarded, and then 2 facade grants to be awarded.
Okay.
Just so it's enough funding to actually incentivize someone. And it doesn't have to be a whole, like Holbrook did. They went in and took the whole facade off, redid it. It could just be putting new paint up. It could be just replacing some of the, if there's a wood siding being used, replace those that are deteriorating. It doesn't have to be a complete tear down and redo as well.
Okay, Austin, you want to, I know we're running late, but let's get to the DDA director report.
Yes, I'll make it quick. So we've been, in October, we kicked off the comprehensive plan update, which includes the master plan for the city, as well as the Parks and Rec plan as required both by state law. Tom, in my effort with RRC, primarily Tom taking the heavy burden of that, was able to get us a $28,000 grant that covered most of the $40,000 budget for the master plan update. We just had our meeting on Tuesday where we talked about transportation, and we will have our next meeting on April 21st. So the third Tuesday of April, we will be going over economic development. We also have a study session at 6 o'clock in the meeting place to go over last month's topic, which was transportation. And on Wednesday, April 22nd, will be the 41st Annual Oakland County Economic Outlook Luncheon. You're all welcome. Unfortunately, we cannot pay for your attendance, but just so it's on your radar, you're welcome to go. It'll be hosted by Oakland County. It's their annual luncheon featuring economists from the University of Michigan, presenting a comprehensive outlook on regional, national, international economic trends impacting Oakland County. The event brings together business leaders, government officials, and community stakeholders to discuss key challenges, investment opportunities, and strategies for navigating a competitive economic landscape while fostering continued growth in the local economy. And in May is when we'll be discussing our transportation aspect of our master plan, or it'll be the economic development. Yeah, it's Parks and Rec. It says transportation, it's Parks and Rec, where we'll be talking about that aspect of the master plan update. We've been working in coordination with Chase Bank and the Lathrup Village Police Department to host a fraud awareness workshop. So last year, we completed a ordinance change regarding cryptocurrency ATMs. And during that process, we discovered, with feedback from the police department, how much fraud is actually taking place. And this is significant, not just with cryptocurrency ATMs, but all types of fraud. And it's not just happening regionally, it's happening in our community. So we are going to have a workshop for all residents. It's free to attend. You don't have to register, but you can so that you can get additional updates. It'll be held on Wednesday, April 29th from 10 to 12 p.m., 10 to noon, here at City Hall in the community room. So we ask, just please spread the word. It is something that is happening, and I recall that when my grandmother was in her later years, she was very susceptible to fraud. So we want to make sure, especially with the way that AI is changing and generative AI with voice is changing, there's a lot of opportunist fraudsters out there. So we want to make sure residents know about what is going on. And then Detroit is becoming more of a place that international organizations and national organizations are looking to host events. So the International Placemaking Week will be from June 24th through 26th in Detroit. A venue has not been selected yet, but they're also going to have field trips throughout the region, just so that's on your radar. Again, we can't cover it, but please, if it's something you're interested in, take a look at further. The past month, past month, we had our annual workshop. So we have a tri-county partnership tri-city partnership with Southfield and Oak Park to take funding we receive from Main Street America. Instead of each of us doing our own events for workshops in our business district, we pool our funding together so that we can bring in a great consultant to talk about what can help our businesses on a day in and day out basis. Last year we had Zing Train come in, which is part of Zinger Mendelli. They created a workshop on how to do customer service, and it's very well received. Many of the automakers here have used them, and other Fortune 500 companies, so it was great to have them. This year we had a local guy from, he's currently based in California, but he came in and used magic as a way to show customer service skills and improvements, and it was phenomenal. It was held in Southfield at the auditorium at their library. It was really beneficial. And also coffee was provided complimentary from Big B, just south of 696 on Southfield Road. So business updates. I discussed it a little bit earlier, but at 28919 Southfield Road, Dairy Fairies, which is a bakery and dessert shop that is looking to move in. They have one other location, but they required a zoning variance for parking, and they received that variance on February 23rd. And the former historic school site at 27700 Southfield Road, the applicant is waiting on their financing from MISHDA, and they requested a 12-month extension to the site plan that was originally approved by the Planning Commission on April 15th, 2025. So they are waiting to get their financials finalized and hoping to break ground this year. So infrastructure, our capital improvement plan was presented to Planning Commission on February 17th, and during our March 17th meeting, they approved it, and that includes a monument welcome signs. We're going to look at ways we can improve the gateways into our business district along Southfield Road, as well as wayfinding signage for the public parking lot just south of 28919 Southfield Road, and then also great recommendation by Mayor Cantor. We've included signage, just very simple. Think of the post office up just north of us, how it says post office. I mean, people see that and they see that as an institutional building, and people drive by City Hall all the time and they don't know that this is where City Hall is located. So we'd like to put a simple block letter sign up that just says City Hall. So those were approved by our Planning Commission. We already went through recast leaders, so I'll wrap up my report. But yesterday, Main Street Oakland County had a director's workshop. Unfortunately, I had a back procedure out at U of M Hospital, so I couldn't attend. But Tom went and represented us, so give us a little bit of feedback on what you learned.
So it was as fun as it was. I will be fast about this because I know we're on the clock here. It was fun. They brought in a consultant from St. Louis. She got everyone involved, and I did get some great feedback. I got to connect with some people, especially out in Farmington. They did give us some good advice. They will be getting us some data on future projects that we're going to be undertaking in the coming months that they have undertaken in the last couple of years. One of the big things that I want to bring up, though, is some of the biggest pieces of advice that they wanted me to provide for all of you. They recommended assigning business advocates, having monthly business meetings outside of DDA meetings and Chamber of Commerce. These would be different city staff and have different officials present at these meetings, basically involving as many people as possible, being workshops without being workshops, essentially, is how they defined it. And they also recommended something that Main Street Oakland County is considering doing, is inviting DDA boards and staff for field trips to other DDAs in the county. Again, mostly see what we're doing here, this is how we're able to do it, you're able to do it as well. We did basically 4 hours of work. They did collect all of the documents that we made. They're going to be finalizing and compiling it into one, and they'll be providing it to me. Once I have it, I will present it to all of you. Just something that you have showing what our thought process is behind everything that we're doing. So, if kind of being just a cursory glance at it, it's not really much to talk about beyond that.
Thank you for attending. Appreciate you
was fun.
representing us. And I always get Farmington and Farmington Hills mixed up, but they are one of the top downtowns in the nation. So each year, Main Street America hosts a national conference. I was lucky enough to attend based on a grant I received from Main Street Oakland County at the conference in Philadelphia last year. This year it's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we won't be attending this year, but it is an opportunity for all the nationwide individuals who are working in downtown development to come together and see what everybody's doing and learn best practices. And Farmington Hills, one of them is for the last 2 years has been considered for the Final Four. So they're select going into the conference 4 downtowns, and they select the winner at the week of the conference, which is coming up, and they're again up for it. So I think they have a really good chance this year, and to be able to go and visit the other DDAs, like Ferndale's DDA, Rochester's, to go out there and take you guys and show them what they're doing and just see what other people in your roles are doing, I think it would be fantastic. So when we get those opportunities, we'll pass them along to you, and I think it would be beneficial for all of us. And that's all we got today, Pam.
All right, any final comments?
Oh, I
from
do
the
have one
board?
more. We want to welcome Jeff Fitzger from Michigan First to our DDA. Thank you so much for volunteering your time and being willing to participate with us. We hope that it provides you insight of what's going on, and we look forward to the contributions you can provide. And then his colleague, Lisa Burr, she had a planned vacation. She wasn't able to attend this month, but she will be here next month. So she's also a resident, so we're really excited to have these two new members to energize and bring us their insight. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Austin. Already learned a lot today. Appreciate everybody's welcomes this morning and looking forward to what happens next. So,
Okay.
do you have just a quick question on your prior report? Do we have any idea what Farmington does so significantly differently than other DDAs?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They are all for incremental growth. They make long-term goals, and from city council down to the staff, they are in planning commission, DDA, they are on board with it. They've not gotten there overnight. It's taken almost 2 decades for them to get there.
Yeah.
And their director's been there for going on a decade, and the director before them was there for a decade. So they've been committed, and it's been just small growth, small victories, time over and time over. And their mayor, we met him at SimCog last year, and he is a phenomenal guy. He actually changed his what he does for work so they can be a consultant, so he can volunteer his time in office. So he'll get delegated work from the city administrator, from the director of finance, and he just helps out, and he's there, and it really is from the top down, just motivation towards improving their downtown. And they just take those small little victories and build them up over time.
I think it's
Is it-
Hills,
is-
Farmington Hills.
Farmington Hills, yeah.
Yeah. Is it possible maybe we can have someone from that to come and
Yeah, we
present to
definitely
us? That'd
reach out
be
to
great.
Yeah, I think that'd be a wonderful idea. All right, now, I'm done.
I was pausing. All right, public comment was omitted from our agenda here, but if anyone would like to make public comment, we could, we have to pass a motion for that, or,
Nice.
Just-
okay, just come on up.
Just 3 real quick things. As far as the parking is concerned, near the business near 12 Mile in Southfield, I think part of the problem with that lot is there's no sign. I mean, unless you know it's a lot, you just drive by and, well, yeah, there are cars there, but so I think just a big sign that says public parking or municipal parking or whatever would be very beneficial. With the signage and facade grants, is there any consideration of people reimbursing the city if the business goes out of business fairly quickly? I mean,
Yes.
yeah, if they're there for 3 years, fine. If they're there for 6 months and we've done this, okay. I'm just thinking of the other side of 696 that
They,
changed.
sorry, go on, and
Okay.
I'll speak.
And then thirdly, real minor, has anybody looked at the downtown Lathrup Village signs on the signposts? They've been there it seems like they've been there forever. They're faded and it's sort of disgusting to look at. They don't really represent the city very well.
Are you
So,
talking about the ones entering the neighborhoods or along Southfield?
The banners?
the banners on the sign, on
Those
the
banners,
lampposts?
okay. Yes, they're,
We have
We've
budgeted
certainly
for
noticed
them.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully replace them this year. And then, we looked into it about the sign grants that have been given out, and no awardees have violated the guidelines of the program which would trigger reimbursement. We had a legal opinion drafted, and we had the whole program and the guidelines looked at it, so
Okay.
it was investigated.
All right.
But thank you for bringing it.
Thank you.
I just have a couple questions since he brought up about signs. In the businesses, some of the signs in some of those properties are very old, and I'm talking about my little area. Does the city come and inspect and recommend changing or upgrading the signs for the owners of that property?
Well, there is there is an ordinance for signs that have gone to neglect that would
Right.
require it.
Uh-huh.
But part of the goal of the sign grant program is to give motivation and incentives for those signs to improve them. And so we're going to be working with the chamber to get the word out about it. And we may also be reaching out to businesses to let them know, like, this funding's available so that they can look at updating their signs.
Okay.
Ironically enough, one of the things that we did talk about at the conference yesterday was targeting projects. So it is okay to, if you have a grant and you have a building that needs a facade upgrade or the sign updated, it's okay to target them and say, hey, we have this grant. If you
Okay.
give them that gentle nudge in
Right.
the right direction.
The other question is parking lots. If the businesses is in a parking lot with all these holes in it, does the city come and inspect that? Okay.
Yeah, there's code requirements
I
for
would
that,
think
even with
so.
striping of the parking spots themselves.
Okay, so who do I talk to about that to come in?
I can get you in touch with our code enforcement.
Okay.
and Keep that
Okay.
going. John, you're welcome.
Yeah, just very quickly, this overlaps with my comment earlier, but I would love, if any, but just as a matter of curiosity, I would love to find the locations of the once proposed or maybe still proposed zoning areas C6, C7, C8, and C9 parking plazas. Seems obsolete. Maybe there's commercial property there. Maybe it was property that was planned to be acquired. I have no idea, but I only have access to the 2011 plan. I would love access to the binders without having to do a FOIA. It'd be wonderful if it was all online. We can take this offline, later. But I wanted to make a public comment to make that a matter of record also. Thank you.
Yeah, John, let's touch base next week about that.
Okay, we ready? Motion to adjourn?
Oh, do we go to board member comments?
Yeah, that's what we've been doing.
Okay, well, that was public comment. Yeah, so I've got something. So, so I walk Southfield Road from 11 to 12 mile most days, mile out, mile back, and I have to say that it looks horrible. And I'm not referring to the buildings, I'm referring to the grounds. And I think as a board, we need to push for more aggressive code enforcement of the corridor. And when I say more aggressive, I don't mean fines, I mean compliance. Code enforcement should never be about fining, it should be about getting compliance and getting things to conform to code. The more that with a less aggressive approach, it just begats more violations. A great example of that is, we had, for a decade, we had a window sign ordinance that you could only have 10% of your window signage covered. But we never enforced it. And so it became 20% and 30%. And this business sees, well, this guy's got, half of his signs, well, I'm gonna do mine. And it eventually became, the Southfield Road became a billboard. And so we started aggressively, what was it, last year? And it was a nightmare because the businesses resisted. They were, ticked off that we're enforcing this. We've always had it this way, and it became much harder to enforce. And I think if we take a more aggressive approach, you can make a big difference. I think of, this is going to so date me right here, but if you think of, remember Welcome Back, Kotter, and the opening credits, they had the New York subway going through, and every inch of every subway car was covered with graffiti. And in the early 80s, what the mayor did is they took an aggressive approach and they repainted all the subway cars. And as soon as one got painted, they took it offline and they repainted it and they put it back. And after about a year, they didn't have a problem anymore because people saw that they needed to, that it was wrong. And same kind of thing. And I know, just from looking at the code enforcement reports here, there's been one enforcement that we've seen in the last couple of weeks. And like I said, I walked down yesterday and just from memory this morning, I probably have 30 things, and some of these things are due to the snow clearing, like garbage. You can't see the garbage, but a lot of this stuff has just been sitting year after year after year after year. And I think 8-9 years ago when I pushed to get us a permanent code enforcer, I kept saying that the reason why the corridor looks the way it does is because we went for decades without enforcing this, so there was no incentive. If I see the guy next door is not fixing his parking lot, to get to your point about the parking lot, why am I going to fix mine? And that was one of the things I saw. There was a gaping hole in one of the parking lots. That doesn't just happen overnight. So I really think as a board, we should be pushing for more aggressive enforcement. So.
We also stopped doing corridor cleanups a few years ago, and
Last year we changed it out for tree planting.
Yeah.
Since we're not doing that this year, we've been
Right.
talking about the possibility of bringing the corridor cleanup back.
And if
Right,
we
but
are,
that's
Yeah, that's-
us taking the extra
Yeah,
step.
right,
It
doing
was
it
interesting,
ourselves.
you know, I think last week I was walking, and there was somebody cleaning up the property in front of their building, and I thanked them. And they said, yeah, well, how do we get other people to do this? This is what's the trade. I said, because they don't care. I mean, and even like, I mean, just to pick on one of the things that I had listed out, is like Panera, the front of their lot just looks horrible. There's trash everywhere, and we specifically wrote into the PUD agreement that weekly trash cleanup, you know,
Yeah.
is a requirement. And we do that actually for almost every site plan. We put that in there so that we have a means to enforce it. But again, we're not enforcing it. So, and you're gonna get a big list of
figured that,
things. You knew that, but yeah, so I just really think we need to kind of push to be a little bit more aggressive and, you know, actually walking the corridor. I don't know how he does it, but, you know, to just make some improvements. It just looks horrible.
and part of the grant application for the GM on Main it's for road safety improvements, but the last question is, how can General Motors work more closely with our community? Because they use their employees, they send them out in the community to volunteer. And one of the most common activities is a cleanup day. So if we are awarded the grant, we'll also have access to their volunteers, which could help organize.
Their volunteers actually come out to clean
Yeah.
up?
Yeah,
Yep.
no, it's great.
Yeah. And just start that relationship so it goes on a regular basis.
Okay, I just have a comment. You know, there always has to be a balance with code enforcement, because a lot of people who want more code enforcement are people who don't own businesses on the corridor. I mean, we do have a nice vacancy rate, and, you know, that could, you know, the economy is not good, okay, and people are still hurting in many ways. So we need to identify when people maybe do not have the resources to do some of those things and see what can be done to help them get there, and to see what things are maybe a higher priority or a lower priority, you know, and how something looks is a matter of opinion. I'm not even sure to what extent. I mean, I've heard of ordinances that regulate how much of your window can be covered with signage. I'm not even sure what the purpose of those are. Is it, what are you saying, the whole place looks like a billboard? I'm sorry.
We just started enforcing it last year because, you know, especially as you got north to 12 Mile, you'd have business after business with their entire window was essentially advertisements, which is not in accordance with our ordinance. I mean.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
but the point is that, you know, these people are set back and they already can't have a monument sign, right? Because, at least out at the street. So, you know, people are, you know, advertising and signage is extremely important for people to have people come to their businesses. So for me to say, oh, it doesn't look so good, but the business struggles, right? And they don't have the money to pay the taxes, and for people to have commerce, you have to have a fine line between that.
Yeah, there's
You know.
certainly a balance, and that's what the ordinance is designed to.
It is.
It's designed to help provide that balance, and if that balance isn't where it needs to be, then the ordinance needs to be changed.
And that balance is done both with the Plan Commission and the City Council, so.
I have a question though. What did you see as the most common violation?
So, I can just, real quickly, things like garbage, crumbling approaches into the businesses, sidewalk issues, concrete debris. You know, I'm in the front where's one area, and well, nobody's here been long enough because this has been a pet peeve of mine for years. Parking blocks that are in the middle of the sidewalk.
Yes.
You know, like in front of the post office, they're every which way the spikes are sticking up. It's a hazard. You know, we've got specific ordinances for that for safety purposes. Electrical over the sidewalk, asphalt approach, manhole with no asphalt around it, dead bushes. You know, one business where their landscape plan that was approved as part of the site plan requires bushes screening across the front. The owner took them all out. One thing that you see everywhere, especially more and this is only on the west side.
Wow.
One thing you see in a lot of the businesses, especially more towards the north, they have concrete edging or concrete curbs, for lack of a better term, you know, defining the approaches in, but they're broken, they're pushed up onto the lawns, and this isn't something that's been sitting there for, you know, a week or a month. These are things that have been sitting there for years, and nobody's done anything. dirt piles on the sidewalk. Another really common thing that I saw further north is where projects have taken place, and you have the sidewalk, and then you'll have 5 feet of just a gully or dirt, and then the lawn starts. And you'll see that all over the place, especially on the north half north half on the west side of Southfield, between 11 and 12. So those are some of the things. Those are the ones that I remembered. But a lot of garbage, branches that are down that have been lying there for over a year, things
Wow.
like that. Yeah.
Well, that's a depressing note to
Yeah,
end
it's a
on.
depressing note to end on, but
Good
A
luck.
lot of neglect.
Yeah.
a lot of neglect.
Okay, are we all done?
So if there's nothing else, motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay, second.
Second.
All right, we're adjourned.